Hi, this is Peter Gould. I'm co-creator and executive producer of Better Call Saul. This is episode 609, and the title is Fun and Games.
Hi, I'm Cherkis, and I wrote this episode.
Hi, I'm Rhea Seehorn, and I play Kim Wexler.
Hi, I'm Jenn, Carroll, and I was one of the producers on this episode.
And here's a different kind of a montage. And this was... I think we talked about this a lot in the room. And
This was a very intricate, the whole teaser.
Director Michael Morris had such a plan for this. He wanted to make sure that there was a transition between every mundane thing, that every horrifying image, and he knew that he was coming on a long line of montages on the show. And he said, I want to have, this is his final episode that he was directing after being an executive producer on this season as well. And he said, I want this to be the montage to end all montages.
And it is.
It's
some of it's scripted, and then some of it was not, and it's beautiful. Also, I wrote dialogue for all of this, the whole thing, and they didn't use it.
And we memorized it.
But you did.
It's so interesting. The question about dialogue in these sequences. I found that we have to write dialogue and make them have them completely scripted. But then sometimes when you get to the end of it, you have to decide whether you're going to play. But it played great with the dialogue, it played great without. But I think this song really kicks it to a new level, and we wanted to give that the room it needed.
It's such a great transition.
Yeah, that was scripted.
That is scripted. Yes.
Yes, the catch-up.
Yes, it was.
It's a wonderful, and also, Marshall Adams is just crushing it this season.
Yeah.
One of the tricks with a sequence like this is that you can have a lot of pieces, but you try not to have a lot of locations. So we tried to keep it to just the apartment, the office, the courthouse. We tried to have it. We tried to so it would be at least possibly executable on a television.
Oh, there's Trish.
Schedule.
Trisha Allen, who is my stand-in and has been for all these seasons, but she's also an actress, and
it's great that you cast her.
This was her.
This is also
debut on the show.
An amazing thing Denise Pizzini did, which is this is our same courtroom we've always used, but she redid it. She moved the window wall from one side to the other, and because she knows. That was driving me crazy that we saw the same courtroom every time. So thank you, Denise, and it works great.
So guys, it seems like everything's going really well. Like last episode was so much trauma. Now Jimmy and Kim seem so normal. What's up with that?
Going through their day.
They're going through their day. They're faking it to the nth degree. And
We're following Mike's advice.
This is
right.
This was a song. I think I might have suggested this, the Harry Neeson original, "Perfect Day," would just seem to fit this beautifully. The tone, and Michael and I, and a lot of other folks really liked it. So we tempted it with the original, but it was frankly too short. So we ended up re-recording it. We asked Thomas Golubovic and said, what do we do here? And Thomas went to this group Dressage and Slow Shiver.
Wow.
And they did this beautiful duet version, which actually
Did they already had it, or you commissioned it?
No, they did this. They did this. I guess Thomas told them that this was something that we wanted to do.
Very cool.
And they made it into a duet, which it is. The original is not. And it's a duet with a male and a female vocalist.
Yeah, it reminds me of Something Stupid.
It's exactly. This really is the mirror image of the Something Stupid montage.
Right.
Oh, I can't imagine playing this moment for you, Ray, coming back to this apartment for the first time, and it's just clean.
And it's completely restored.
Like it was a bad dream.
Mm-hmm.
This always reminded me.
I don't think she feels any relief from that it's clean. Like it's like
no.
Jimmy's a little bit like it's done.
Yeah.
She's like, it's almost worse that we're just going to pretend it didn't happen.
This made me think of the first season of Breaking Bad when we spent a lot of time cleaning up Emilio. But then Crazy 8 dies too. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting in the room going, do we have to show, now we have to do, what are they going to do? They're going to dissolve Crazy 8 too. We're going to see that. Yep. And we came up with the idea, let's just skip it and have it be totally empty. And I think to me that this was sort of a little in the same genre. I don't know if anyone else would make that connection. Mike feels really bad about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the continued deterioration of Mike's soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he feels up because he messed up too last episode.
Oh, boy.
How'd they do that shot with the flames?
That's a good question. That's probably Werner Hyland. You know, I think none of us on this, I'm sorry to say, none of us who are sitting here, except for you, Ray, were in Albuquerque shooting this episode, I don't believe.
Yeah, but we love those twinkly lights.
This is a little set.
What are you doing here? But I mean, how do you decide what? Are you using sense memory about Howard dying at that point? What's going through your head when there's a shot like that? And you seem to be in such a deep place. What's actually going on in your brain?
I think there is a fissure that has developed, like a crack happening, and she is trying to piece together. I don't know who I am anymore. Right. I don't understand the skin I'm living in, and I can hear him, but it's kind of like down a well. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we'll just move on. And I think she's searching for like, what is moving on going to look like? What is that? Who will I be then? Who am I going to be tomorrow? Who am I going to be the day after that? And can I be that?
That's beautiful.
And what's interesting is that throughout the episode, that sort of becomes more pronounced for her, right?
Yes.
This shot to me is such a big movie shot. It's just so beautifully done, and this is using a remote head. So Matt Cradle, who's operating the camera, is actually in a vehicle.
Oh, okay.
That's not far away. But this is all one shot of driving up, revealing what turns out to be Don Eladio's, and then Gus getting out of the car, and so on and so forth. It's really beautifully done. I will admit though that it is one shot, but we used two different takes and joined them together. There's a little split screen because I think Skip and I like the end of one take better than the end of another one. So there's as you pan over the passenger front seat passenger seat, there's a little split screen right there. There's a little split screen. I hope you can't see it. No. So, and it's beautifully done by the folks that keep me posted. And how great is he there? Because he's been shot recently.
Yeah, he's just playing the slightest discomfort that he can't show to them.
Yeah, there was a scripted moment where he sort of winces, and he may not even do that.
It's interesting.
He did it when he reached for the hanger.
He did? Okay.
This shot was actually done very late in the schedule. This was actually done, I think we were shooting episode 12 and 13.
He wins here too. Yep.
We just didn't have time to finish it. So Giancarlo had to fly back to Albuquerque from another show that he was doing. And we had him for just the one, it was half a day to do this sequence. And I just think Michael just did such a gorgeous job with this.
Yes.
He did.
This is one of the great successes of the show to me, because we know that nobody in this scene dies, and yet it's so tense.
Yes.
Right?
You know they're going to keep working
Good
together,
point.
but you don't understand, how can Gus possibly talk his way out of this?
Right.
I don't ever, it's interesting. When I watch the scenes, I guess on some level I know that people are going to live, but I just don't think about that. I guess it's.
I mean, there was always a possibility that they might torture him and he'll live.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
It's like one extra.
Let's talk about this shirt.
By the way, this shirt, I'm obsessed with this shirt.
Is it leather? There's a sheen to it.
I don't know, but
I think it's. I think it's the blue is shiny, kind of applique, matte metallic applique. It's just remarkable.
Shirt.
Yeah.
Another genius Jennifer Bryan
Yes.
and the costume
Yes.
department.
Yes.
Yes. And setting this scene here where we have so much emotion infused with the scenes we've seen going all the way back to Max dying at this pool is so perfect. So it was such a great job, you guys.
It is. And the question came up during prep. It was a lot to shoot in one evening. And it would have made production's lives much easier if we had moved this inside Donalato's house.
Yeah.
And I think in the end we all felt it had to be out of the pool, but it meant that Michael had to really be very strategic about his coverage. And I think it's just works
Because
so
of daylight,
beautifully.
or
because of daylight and just the way we couldn't go back for a second day. There was a whole series of things.
Yes.
And it's we make a lot of compromises, where you say, well, it's going to be really hard to shoot this or that at a particular location. But then sometimes you feel like some things that are worth digging in, and and that meant essentially we weren't able to get his drive up that time, so we had to come back and get that.
And a huge shout out to our swing gang, our set deck team, because we didn't get into this location until right before we shot, which means they had to dress the whole set. And the care that Ashley and her team take to make sure everything matches perfectly. It was rented for another event the night before.
Wow.
So they truly had a very small window of time to make it look this beautiful and perfect.
Oh, speaking of which, the opening shot, Peter mentioned in our 604 commentary that that location had to be shot out unexpectedly and quickly. And so multiple directors, myself being one of them, had to come in and shoot out the exterior of that office. And they were doing Saul's office,
Yes.
and they were changing out that look.
The
Francesca's
signage.
look.
And we with Aaron, you shot the scene with Aaron.
Yep.
And doing
Perhaps
all
at
these
12.
iterations of it, which was incredible.
Yeah, and we see it in this episode too, in one of those iterations. So Michael had to shoot a scene for episode 9 so wildly early.
Yes. But one of the great things here, though, is just you have this wonderful cast.
Yes.
You have
Yeah,
all
everyone's
these guys. I mean, Mark Margolis, and how great is Stephen Bauer?
Awesome.
He's just
Wonderful.
fantastic.
And it's a scary scene when the cousins talk.
Yeah, right?
No, I got to actually write a word for them. One of them.
Yes. It was and
Were Daniel and Lewis like, I'm going to buy a highlighter.
Probably. It's a big moment.
Skip McDonald just did such a gorgeous job with the scene, because it's a scene where you can take too many significant pauses and then it just starts dragging.
Yeah.
But if you don't give the characters their due, then you're skipping over the drama, and it's really, and because Michael had this covered so beautifully, there were a lot of choices in editing. And I think it's
You've got a lot of points of view to cover.
Yes.
And isn't it? It's so wonderful when Gus turns camera left, the flames in his glasses.
Love it.
Marshall Adams and
Yes.
Sulateki, beautiful.
Yes, this is the first time I don't think we've ever seen this location at night before, and that makes
No.
that also
Oh,
makes
really?
a big difference. Yeah, there's a lot of flames. I guess that's the other thing we could have done. We could have made it a daytime scene.
Yeah, but I like the who's going to get voted off the island
That's
feel.
true.
Tiki torches.
And just his expression, Mark did such a good job.
That is so hard to play what he's doing.
Yes,
and does
I
for
can
all of
only
these
imagine.
episodes.
It's a thing that I've noticed about great performances, and this is going to sound weird, but a really great performance, if you took it just a tiny bit differently, it's silly. And it's why actors have to have such daring, because the last thing anybody in real life wants to be considered as silly or ridiculous. But the truth is, I mean, all the greatest. Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, he's right on the edge of being ridiculous. And I think that's it's the daring, it's the confidence that makes it work.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. And Gus wins again.
Yep.
Now we see how it all ended up the way it was on Breaking Bad.
Right.
For those of you who are following at home with the home game.
With the clip notes.
This is Giancarlo's last episode. This is the last time we see Gus Fring.
This is.
Yes.
This is.
It's not his last scene in this, but it's last,
Thank God.
But you set him up for where he's going to be in Breaking Bad. He's got control of more territory.
Yes.
Correct.
And the next time he comes to the pool, Donaladio is going to be buying it.
Yes.
He's going to be face down in his own damn pool next time.
Come up, Vince.
I got to write that scene.
I love this.
That was an amazing scene.
I love this.
Same.
He knows that Gus doesn't like him.
Yeah, of course.
But
he might even know that Gus did it. We don't know.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. That's a thought. I don't know. That's what an interesting thought.
That never occurred to me before, but
it's
But I love the bigger idea of that's going to be his demise, is the fact that he never let go of this vendetta.
That's right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And Javier's so great because he adds a little bit of humanity to the whole thing.
He's so relieved.
He's just you see this a lot could have happened just then that didn't. And I love it's what's fun in a really well written, well directed scene like this. Every single one of the characters has their own reaction and their own history, and I really love that. I thought that was great. And now here's Gus is home free.
Yes, and I love the parallel to episode 604 when he comes in and we see him
so
with the bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
And now he can actually
And now
relax.
he's like, I can relax and let the light in.
It's interesting. He is a cartel capo who doesn't like guns. He doesn't like carrying. It feels like I think it almost seems like weakness to him.
Yeah,
Gentleman.
It's like too easy almost.
Yeah. He should be able to see all the problems before they approach with a gun. And now the last time looking at this magnificent set that Ray, that you introduced back in episode 4.
It's such an incredible set.
I'll say, you'll hear me say this in a couple of commentary tracks. Well, I am so in awe of the whole construction crew. And I have a special place in my heart for the scenic painters because of the artistry that they use to make these surfaces feel like things that they're not.
Yeah.
It's like trompe-l'oeil, if I'm saying that right.
I think so.
Trompe-l'oeil.
There you go. There's
an L, not a D.
Yeah, it's just wonderful.
I took photos of the oil tank that they built on the set. I know we used an exterior real one and then the interior one for
603.
For 603, and the painting to make it look like an aged metal oil tank is beautiful. You would hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
This is also now their relationship is what it's going to be.
Yes.
Just like you said, Jen.
Sealed in a tomb.
This is it. These two guys are going to be each other's doom.
Yes.
Yep.
We referred to this episode as the golden spike for a while as we were approaching it.
That's
it was
right.
the thing that joined the east and the west and the Transcontinental Railroad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, there is a version of this show that ended with this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad it did.
me too.
Same.
Well, because then I think you wouldn't. Yeah, I think that there'd be something huge missing. But I had somebody ask me once why during Breaking Bad, once Gus dies, why don't you stop there? And it was before the final season had aired, and it's because Walt won, and that's not the ending.
It's over when he says it's over.
Yes, exactly. And this scene again.
Where did you shoot this?
This was actually, it's not even in a restaurant space.
It's not? I kept trying to figure out what restaurant.
This is a space.
Because I've been in every restaurant.
This is a space at the Albuquerque Hotel complex. And it's again, Denise Pizzini did such an amazing job. But we should talk about this scene.
Yeah, and you talked to our wonderful husband of writer Alison Tatlock, David Wyatter,
who is a wine expert. It's his business. And he was incredibly helpful in the beginning stages because I know nothing about wine.
And here's Reed Diamond, who I have worked with before in Franklin and Bash.
Oh, really?
Wonderful actor. Yeah.
Oh, he's so great.
Reed and Giancarlo were both on Homicide: Life in the Street.
That's
And
right.
They only. I found this out later. They only overlapped briefly, and it's a great thing to look at. This. I've had more people ask me about this scene than any other scene on the show.
Really? What do they ask?
Well, they ask what's really going on, and to me, it's crystal clear. But I think folks, they know what's going on, but they don't trust that they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And this, I think that this is, it's genuine.
It's a grounded romantic scene,
Yes.
and it breaks my heart because Gus. There's a world where he goes home with this
Yes,
guy.
this is another ramp he could
He's a
have
normal,
taken.
exactly, and he just can't let himself relax at the end.
Giancarlo's performance is so multidimensional and so subtle, and he tells you everything with those eyes. It's just it's a tour de force.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this also the first and potentially only time we see the character smile?
That's what I've been told.
I think you see him smile in his guise as the owner of Toys R Us.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
very tight
Customers.
smile.
But that's a bit of a
one time that
performance.
you see a true,
genuine.
true smile.
as himself. Yeah.
And I think the reason folks wonder about the scene is that we're used to Gus playing roles.
Yes.
Right.
And here he is truly genuine. And Reed does this great speech that Anne wrote, which is just, the at least for my generation, this was the image of going to travel in Europe.
Yeah.
Yes.
As
I did that too.
as a college student, as a young person, of getting lost in this world. And it's while Reed's character David was doing this, Gustavo Fring was probably torturing people with electrodes.
Exactly.
For
I was going to say, when Jen said this is yet another ramp, I'm like, I don't know how clean of an off ramp. Like, at this point, he couldn't really just go.
No.
Yeah.
Plus, I think he also knows that they might anybody that's in a relationship with him is in danger of
That's
being killed.
true.
Oh, absolutely. I
mean,
think he knows that, though.
The other thing, though,
I do.
I think the other shrewd thing about this, just to say how great we are as writers, is you can see that Gus has a type.
Yes.
That he was in love with the chemist, Max,
Right.
and David Constable's character. And it's these young guys who are almost a little unworldly and passionate. They have passion.
Yes,
They
for
have
what they do,
passion and expertise, and Gus really responds to that.
Yeah.
And Walt,
it's
too.
Walt. Well, I think it's a little different.
there,
for Walt, but it's the idea of achievement and perfection and striving. And
I think he would love a first chair violinist.
yes, I think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Wasn't
I would love to hear about it.
Chuck's ex-wife
Yes.
is a violinist?
Yeah.
Yo-Yo Ma played at their wedding.
Yes. So there you go. If only they had invited Gus, everything could have gone differently.
Yes. I would have loved a Chuck and Gus scene.
Oh my God. Well, that's the spinoff.
Yes, and here's the moment. It's really beautifully scripted, Anne.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. It's so interesting to write because it is such. It is a unique scene in the entire series, and it's long, which is great. It gives us time, breathes.
It's yes, I agree, Anne. And it's a scene that's more like a scene that we would give to Jimmy and Kim.
Yes.
Which is that it's a deep character scene. It's not a scene about calculation or getting what Fring wants. It's about who Fring is, and I really like it.
And I remember that in the room we talked about the scene early-ish in the process, and we just sort of had to figure out like which episode it would land in and what it looks like.
Oh wow!
I think we had at one point we had it set like in an airport bar. And,
oh, that's right.
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
He was traveling.
He was traveling, and he met somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like it that it's somebody that we know he talks to repeatedly.
Yes, I do too. I agree.
Yeah, I think I kept trying to add more international travel to the show, and everybody else in the writers' room, Anne included, very intelligently kept me more focused on Albuquerque. Jonathan Banks is such a wonderful, interesting actor.
Yes.
He makes it look so easy. But he's thinking, he feels it, he thinks about it, he spends a lot of time.
He works his ass off on what this character is thinking at all moments.
And you can see it. It's like,
and he has the confidence to not need to telegraph it.
It's like a Ray Seehorn thing.
And he's got secrets too.
Yeah.
I love
very kind of you.
It's also another beautiful piece from Dave Porter. Dave just has such an insight into these characters and how to present them.
Yeah, how to evolve them
Yes.
over the course of the series.
And he's saving that ID. Explain.
It's Nacho's father.
That's right.
You know, and it's this tiny bit of guilt that it's the last promise he made.
Just to protect him.
He took it out of Nacho's safe.
Yeah, so he knows that
pocketed it.
He knows that Nacho was planning to get away.
That they were the ideal plan was that he was gonna leave the States.
But do you think he thinks like he still might be able to get Nacho's dad out of Albuquerque?
I don't think so. That doesn't have to happen now. I think Nacho's dad is safe.
Okay.
Nacho cooperated. The Salamancas have moved on. Gus has no reason to interfere with Nacho's dad and won't.
Right.
And Mike is I think Mike has checked up on Nacho's dad.
Yes.
And I think he's from afar. But I think Mike has something else in mind now, which is he's thinking to himself, what would I want?
Right.
What would I want if I were as a father? What would I
what
want?
closure would you need?
Right.
And the removal of the ID was the act of kindness in the first place in episode 2, because he could have left that ID.
That's right. And then the father would have been on their radar.
But he took it out and he said, I'm not going to give the cartel one more piece of information to hurt Nacho.
Yeah, he was always protective of that, of him, and of Nacho.
And Giancarlo Cantu is just such. I
love this actor so much.
He's such a fabulous actor.
He's fantastic.
And he's somebody you could do a whole TV series with this guy. He should be a regular. And he's just a wonderfully generous actor. And he's got he's very shrewd. He pulls apart the scene. He understands what the scene is. And it's interesting to see him work. I think he's done a lot of, I could be wrong, I think he's done a lot of soap opera work. And I think in that world, you have to work very, very fast and you have to be very precise instantly. And he's got a precision that seems to come very quickly. And he's just a one. And he's got children who are also actors. So it's a whole. It's going to be a dynasty. It's going to be the new Barrymores.
Nice.
Just the way his carriage in this role has so much history and so much weight to it. This man who's been working and struggling for his family. And we never see a wife for him. Right. There's no mother.
Well, I think he's a widower. Yes. I really do. He just doesn't seem to have much in his life except for his son and his work. And now he doesn't have his son.
Yep.
And I think, we had a lot of things scripted or pitched that we didn't do about him, Nacho's dad going to Nacho's apartment.
Yes.
And seeing the destruction and seeing that Nacho's not around and wondering what happened to his son after that phone call they had in episode 3. And Mike I think Mike identifies with this guy as a father who's lost his son. And Mike thinks, what did I feel? And Mike, you know what Mike did when he lost his son.
Yeah.
He went after revenge. And he thinks that's what Nacho's dad is going to want, and Nacho's Dad kind of tops him
Yeah.
in this scene, which is something we haven't seen an awful lot of.
Right.
No, because Mike thinks they're the same. You know, he relates to this guy. He sees himself in this guy. And Manuel says, no, we're not the same. You're a criminal. And he doesn't let him off the hook. And I really love that.
Yeah, he's the only character that doesn't, right?
Yeah, he's the moral compass.
And Mike is such a lovable character, and he wins almost every scene.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He wins almost every scene he wins, and he finally, and this is our last scene with him in this timeline,
Revenge.
is this scene he loses. And
Jonathan did some commentary or some interview about saying that he thought like he would grab him through the fence and he would. There's no way this guy wouldn't come over the fence and kill me. And
that's right.
But then he said he saw how Juan played his part and he just felt obliterated by it.
It is because he's Jonathan, being the brilliant actor that he is identifying with his character, and he's thinking, of course, that's what a dad would do. And this guy is, I mean, he's, not to get religious, he's a little Christ-like. And then he's going to tell the truth, and then he's going to also be daring enough to walk away and turn his back. And he's got nothing to lose, and he's not afraid of anything. And I just think it's
a brilliant scene.
And we haven't seen these two since the teaser of the episode.
I know.
New trash can.
There's that trash can.
Yeah.
But if you were just to say it, if you were looking at this episode through the eyes of conventional even rational storytelling, you would say, well, let's weave these stories together. And what's interesting about this episode to me, one of the many things is it has these long set piece sequences where we're not leaving the characters.
That's
we're
right,
not
like
intercutting
with
them.
and with Mike and
And what a remarkable shot this is.
Yeah.
This is.
It took a lot of rehearsal and orchestration, but all worth it.
It looks easy though.
It's supposed to.
And this is. I don't even know how you guys moved it. Was it a techno crane?
Patrick. It was definitely a crane.
Yeah, techno crane, most likely. Yeah.
Yeah. And Patrick very kindly gave us these photos.
his personal photos,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
It's funny.
Yes. This is.
Because Patrick really is that guy who does the triathlete.
Yeah, this is overlap in the Patrick.
Those photos are probably
diagram.
from a 2-hour slice of one of Patrick's mornings.
Patrick's also. He's a guy who will. He'll go to the Emmys and then tell you he was doing a marathon just an hour.
I know, right?
Yep.
It's like, what the hell?
And then he's going to leave and go build a school for children.
Good lawyer.
Dennis
And a great dad.
Dennis Boutsikaris.
What else is there to
Love
say?
him.
He's
Yeah.
just. I'm always happy to see him on screen. He is such a wonderful actor. I mean, we are so lucky. But here's a guy who was introduced to us in season 1.
Probably the last time any-
He's the one guy who Jimmy called from the inside of a dumpster.
Right.
He called from the inside of a
yes,
dumpster.
yes.
Oh, right.
And he calls it what opera?
And he was kind of the bad guy. So have a good time at the Magic Flute. And he's got so much soul. And the two of you, built such a wonderful relationship.
Yes.
We had a good time. Yeah.
Yes.
End of an era.
I love the scenes where he was calling Kim out for like lies and stuff, and it's like, I know, and you know that I know.
Yeah. What a great mentor he could have been.
Yes.
He really
Yeah.
believed in her.
Yeah.
I heard you took a leave from her.
I think that if I were a lawyer, I'd want to work for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I'd want to work for Cliff Maine.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Cliff.
Yeah, he's
But
good too.
that's also partially because who doesn't want to sit around with Ed Bigley Jr.?
That's true. That's true. And also, the office up there at Davis and Maine is it's in
very
Santa
nice.
Fe, and they give you a nice apartment in Santa Fe, and it's
Lots of perks.
Your office has a fireplace.
Lots of perks.
Yes, and there's good art.
And what an impact Sandrine Holt made on this series for
Yes.
only being in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Or
Three
three episodes.
episodes.
Yeah,
Three
6,
episodes.
9,
Yeah,
and
she was
12.
great.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'm proud of is that she and Howard were on the outs when he died.
Yeah.
And, it would be the easy dramatic choice would be to have them lovey-dovey.
Right.
But they were on the outs. And in some ways I think it makes it worse for her.
It does.
Because they ended their story at a terrible moment.
Even imagine what you must be going through.
Yeah. Was this tough to play? Because this is one of the hardest moments for me to watch in Kim's journey. This putting the nail in the coffin.
And twisting the knife to make it about their marriage. Like, she did not need to say the last part, for sure.
That's what the police said.
Well, she has doubts.
She wanted to make sure she did the job.
Yes,
she wanted
Cheryl
to make sure it was done.
It's true.
And she leaves. Cheryl leaves the scene. I don't think she has any doubts about what happened.
No.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's devastating.
I think he honestly believed it.
I love it. We expect Jimmy. Still, this happened over and over in the show, where we kind of expect Jimmy to lie and do a pretty good job, and he does. But then Kim tops him, and he looks at her, and he's so worried about what's going on with
what
Kim.
is she about to
She's
say?
so hard to read, and you saw what a shell she was at the beginning, how traumatized.
Yeah.
She's doing a great job of fronting here.
The respect of my brother.
And I love how Michael just put so much empty space in the scene where Jimmy and Kim are crowded together.
Yep.
It's amazing storytelling with the camera.
It was also a great idea to put them up on this second level for a lot of reasons. One of which is simply that you didn't have to have like 100 extras milling around in the middle of all this. It was just this balcony area. But this was 2 different days, right? There was the downstairs day and the upstairs day.
It was my fault. Guess it had to do with the Sandpiper case, but I
It was our last time in this location. And boy, I think there are a lot of people who are happy about that at that office building.
The resets going up and down those stairs is not fun. That's a very long flight of stairs.
Well, we give you the cardio in addition to everything else.
I know people are saying he was on drugs.
You spend a lot of time in this building with the Post-its and
Yeah. I know this building very well. I remember running across that bridge when she's trying to get to the phone before, what was it? Somebody calls.
This is the moment here for me, right here.
I don't care what the police
And-
think.
Oh, the tension in your jaw and like
This was actually,
There's something more to this.
in editing, that was where I felt like the scene lived. It's just in that, in hanging on Kim on that moment when everyone else is talking.
And I love that light behind her, the little arc light that reminds us of Chuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right.
It's a tiny touch from
Yeah.
Steve Latecki and Marshall. It's brilliant.
These guys.
And I saw a light on in Howard's office. I assume the cleaning
Ed's doing something that's very hard too here. It's just to be present for all this.
office was empty, so I didn't knock.
Oh.
And
look at
protected,
his
but also we know what
expression.
Ed thinks he witnessed, what Cliff thinks he witnessed.
Yes. It's complicated.
And Howard was there at his desk, head down,
Oh.
and he was snorting something.
And I think Bob does an amazing job because just in like the tiniest of twitches of his eyebrow, you see like,
doing
oh,
this?
what is she
Yeah.
going to say?
I didn't know
When we were working on this, I'll tell you my greatest fear about this scene was that people would think that Kim was telling the truth.
I never told anyone.
Because,
interesting.
because Kim
yeah.
is so convincing here
Right.
that if I could imagine a world where I was watching the show and say, I guess I missed the episode where it
Yep.
turned out Howard really was a drug addict.
Yeah. And that's how she knew to set up this thing. You're right. It's so
Was I making a
believable.
sandwich when that happened? You really can't make a sandwich while the show's on.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not a sandwich type of show.
Sorry, viewers. I guess I'm expecting viewers to be better viewers than I am when I'm watching TV.
Yes.
That's asking a lot.
Yeah. And just say with this being the last time we were in this building, this is the last time we see Ed, right, as Cliff Maine, I think, in this
Yes.
episode.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I think you're right.
And so there's just so many goodbyes, and we've been working on this season for over 2.5 years now since the writers' room opened, and it's been a slow grieving process.
Yeah,
that
slow goodbye. Yeah.
I'm sure Ray on set, you felt that every time you had to say goodbye to a person, every time you say a location.
Of course.
Her sister's here somewhere. I'm gonna go find her.
And that's something that the listeners may not know is that the assistant director will say, that's a series wrap for Ed Begley.
Yeah.
And
there's the parking garage where it all started for him.
Oh, wow.
The garage.
Yeah.
And it looks different every time we go down there. The lighting and the feel.
It's a tribute to Marshall's talent that he can make this parking garage look so beautiful.
You don't always see it full of cars either.
That's true.
Yeah. But this is the moment where I think a lot of the audience just knew it was over.
That she's made a decision.
Oh, ouch.
You see it in the eyes.
I think Jimmy knows.
Do you?
Yep.
Look at him. I think he knows
something.
He's very worried.
Yes, he's very worried.
It's beautiful. This reminds me of the silhouetted shots in the Wexler McGill office.
Yeah.
Glass
Those were always
bricks.
so pretty.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart they didn't drive together, too, because it just leaves him wondering what.
I know.
Well,
I know. We talked
coming
about
from
that
work.
a lot. About did they take the same car and.
I'll just say that this is a silly thing to bring up, but the last cut is a solution to the problem we always have with people getting in and out of cars and starting cars and how long it takes.
Right.
And it's amazing how much you can get away with, or how you can just kind of cut out.
There's John again.
There's
from
John. Yes.
604.
There's the character of Abe, who we saw in 604.
So Ray, you cast him. You brought him into this world.
I did.
And now here you are, ending.
Now he's getting pawned off on a
Onto
page.
Hayes Hargrove is the actor playing the other lawyer.
And this is Ari Gross playing the judge, and he's great. He's a wonderful actor.
Named after Robin and Taylor Dearden.
That's right.
Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, correct.
Bryan Cranston's wife, Robin Dearden, and his daughter, Taylor.
Do I understand this correctly? You're requesting.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there to meet him. I was very excited to have Ari Gross on our show.
He's so good.
He's one of those actors who is, I just feel has been a part of my life, and I think he's terrific. And of course, earlier in the episode, we were in a courtroom, so that was why we thought it was especially important to redress the courtroom earlier.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So we weren't in the same courtroom twice, and here we are. It's back, reconfigured the way it normally looks.
Exclude evidence, and this is the moment you choose to withdraw.
It was unavoidable.
Kim really doesn't want to tell him what's up here. She just wants to get this over with, I think.
Yeah. For a variety of reasons. I felt like saying it out loud, she'd rather skip that moment, just let it be private, and also because now she's going to have to answer to people the whys, and it's just like, can we not do this?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd prefer
But she's trying to be
She's
deferential to a judge still.
She's almost military. The way you're standing there, it's almost like you're in the army.
You know what, Ms. Wexler?
Well, I was trying to figure out how to thread the needle of it. I'm not being combative. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I don't want to talk.
I'm inclined to have
Yes.
you argue your motion, and then I'll consider late arriving petitions.
I'm sorry for wasting the court's time, Your Honor.
I like the way our judges are on this show because they're more like the judges I've seen in real life than judges I've seen on movies.
We've had a lot of good judges.
We have.
Because it's a hard job, but they don't usually have to constantly assert their authority because they just got it.
Yes.
Whoop. Oh. Kim's making some big changes here.
Terrible.
Yeah. I love that we don't see the moment where she tells him. We see the reaction, the explosion.
Yeah.
So,
This is the calm before the storm.
So, Ray, we're coming up on, I think, one of the signature moments for our television series, which is this discussion you're about to have with Jimmy. Kim is having with Jimmy. How do you prepare? What did you do? What did you guys do to prepare for this?
Bob and I ran the lines ad nauseum, as we always do, so that's just done. Get the skeletal work out of the way. And then we start talking about moments and beats, and then we decided to try to rehearse it in the room and invite Michael just to feel the blocking, because it was written that she never follows him into the bedroom. But the very first time we said, like, let's not, because Bob and I are never looking to cement something before a director is there. It's not trying to jump the gun on that. But we just also were like, let's see what happens before the whole crew's here, before there's that pressure, what happens. And every time I would follow him. And then Michael came in and said he actually loved that it made for that very intimate moment in their bedroom for a second. And it really felt right to... There is a who's on the offense, who's on the defense that switches in the scene and who's chasing whom. And then Michael loved what was going on, had some thoughts. We ran it again and again, and he said, I think we need to get Marshall in here because I actually think we need to figure out how to follow you guys on the dolly track, which Eli... Our dolly grip did beautifully. Like, it's a whole dance to be able to, and you'll see it in a minute. They go with us and they come back because we all felt, it was the whole crew, and the whole crew was very moved by the scene and teary when we even just rehearsed it. And we all just really wanted to protect, like, this is the kind of scene where you need to not be able to get away from us. In order for you to have have the same tightness in your chest that you would if you were in the scene.
And I think it was very smart to change the blocking.
You asked if you were bad for me.
It's also the way it's covered is very clever because it's almost like in the main it's two shots. It's one trombones going in one direction and the other one trombones. So you guys didn't have to stop and do special coverage in each of these positions. And it's I remember also standing, and unfortunately Anne was not there for this. I wish you had been standing in your kitchen in Albuquerque talking about this. We spent a lot of time, me and Bob, we spent a lot of time talking about the scene. And there was one hang up, and I'll share it, which was that Anne had written, as we had broken it in the room, that when Kim leaves at the end, his emotions go from devastation to anger. And Bob became, and we talked about, Anne and I talked about this later, Bob was really worried about getting to anger. And it was the question is, what do we need? We need to change something in the scene to make him get to anger.
I love you too.
And the solutions to that always ended up being Kim blaming him in some way.
Right.
And then what I realized... Which
you were so helpful. You and I had very long conversations about, I don't think she's blaming him.
There was an obligation, but I think that because of the way it was scripted, and again, it was the way we all thought of it, it was he had an obligation to go to anger.
Right.
And there's, what if you don't have that obligation? What if you just feel whatever you're going to feel? And so we let the scene play. And I remember the other thing was the question, and this came up in other places too, not just with you guys, was Kim saying I was having too much fun. And you said, I know how to say that line. I know what that's about. And it gave me so much confidence because there's a way to say that where it's kind of lighthearted. And the way what you brought to it is so much self-hatred.
Well, like it's a dirty word,
What an amazing job you two did, especially knowing that you've got Matt and the camera, you've got Eli the dolly grip, you've got Mitch running in and out of this tiny doorway with the boom, and
that's Eli having to
pull back through these two doorways. And Michael just thought the performance was so amazing. He wanted to do the least amount of coverage possible.
Yes, and he was also trying to protect that Bob and I. And it's what I think people read as chemistry. We like each other very much and respect each other's work. But when you're watching these scenes, there is a filament between us that he and I trust each other's work and trust that how you affect my work because of what you do is only going to make me better. So all of our directors have been so lovely, and Peter the whole time show running to try to enable that and protect that because
I was having
my line reads change every time Bob changes his line reads.
Yeah.
So you want to try to find ways to cover that, which isn't always easy. It's a little bit of a dance.
It's a dance that I'm so impressed by and proud to be a part of.
Yeah, because you could be so rigid and have one performance in mind, but it's amazing that you're so present and so therefore your partners that
it's remarkable to me that a number of actors that do stick to a pre-planned performance that they wanted to do. You have to do your homework, but the joy is doing all of the work and then having a scene partner that did all of their work and then see what happens.
Yes.
And this is our we compare this to Cutting from the Bone to the Spaceship. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
And let's just give a hats off to Ruth Karsh with the number of hair pieces
of
the varying degrees of what we should see.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite moments is in the bathroom.
Yeah.
This is the most worried I've ever seen Ruth about anything, which is
telling someone that you're going to do a hairpiece, but then could it please be in a shower and then wet and on camera?
And it has to flop over into his. And this was an idea that I think it was Bob's idea because we talked a lot about what is Saul's hair really,
right.
What is really going on there, and Bob is. It's interesting. Some actors work from this or that. Bob works from his hair somewhat. and so we had a lot of thoughts. I got so excited about this idea, but then Ruth had to make it real. And of course, here we are back in his, this is the one set on stage that we had for Saul's house. The rest of it was all at this wonderful house.
Bathroom is
and this was shot. This was shot more or less at the same period that we did the opening for the season.
It's just so good.
That's what's going on, and that's an elaborate piece that Ruth did, and we tested. And Ruth, she outdid herself in my book in that.
And Sherry Montesano makeup, Bob told me she was doing these sort of highlights and contouring on his face to make him doughier because Bob is more in shape than Saul was at this time.
I think at first, even in the room we talked about, well, maybe there's some prosthetics, maybe because we want him to appear heavier, and then I guess in the end that didn't feel right.
But I think she did a great job with the makeup. I feel like his face looks much fuller and the jawline looks softer.
Yes, which is amazing. You can do that with makeup.
I know, right?
This is, and this is, of course, this fantastic house.
It's amazing.
And it was, all hail Denise Pizzini and Ashley Marsh. And Ian Scroggins and Dins Danielson. It's just, the
fact that there's a bowl of breakfast bars.
I know.
That anybody who's leaving in the morning can take one.
I know.
And also
so funny and so gross.
The Greek vase motif,
the
whole everything. It's just fantastic.
Just an
inflated sense of stuff. We wanted carnation, but I think we couldn't get it.
That's right.
Yeah. What a great parallel to reintroduce him in Breaking Bad as well with the Bluetooth call. Fantastic.
Yes. And Bob's performance, particularly in this scene, this driving scene, just drives me crazy. It's one of my favorite Saul moments when he listens to himself on the radio, and he does the duck lips. It's just, it's too much.
Shut up.
Shut up.
I know. It's shut up. It does
Look at me. Look at me, Albuquerque.
I'm on the radio. That's me.
But wait, I don't sound right. It's just wonderful. There's so much we could say about this whole Saul world. I just, the boldness to me of what Ann did in the script, and of course it's all stuff that we worked on together.
Yes.
They've cutting from maybe the most painful scene we've ever had.
Yes.
To this goofy Saul.
Yes. Oh, Michael was so thrilled when we scouted this and there was the handicap space there. And we went back through all the footage of Trina, Melissa, Michael, and I. And we said, we don't think, on Breaking Bad, it was just painted over. It wasn't a handicap space. And Michael said, can I keep it? Because if we haven't established it before, I want it to be that he parks there on purpose.
Right.
Yes.
Puts up his tag, and then eventually he paints it over because that's who he is now.
It's great.
What a schmuck.
Get all that?
call the bank, cancel the check, call the station manager, tell him to crank it up.
Business is booming.
Tina Parker.
It's so much
Tina
fun
Parker.
to see the.
I loved her evolution.
Oh
of
my God,
character.
yeah, and that was we talked a lot about that. How to get her from pre-Saul
Yes.
to post-Saul.
You saw it all in this one episode. She starts off and they're putting up the her sign,
Right.
and she's so excited about
Right,
it.
and she
And then
designed
here,
everything.
now it's all his world. There's not even a touch of what she added to the office.
No,
And here's
What?
All right. Let justice be done.
the only other time we've heard someone say that line. I believe it was Chuck.
Let justice be done, though the heavens fall.
I like that you gave her
Julia Clark.
Julia Clark Downs.
Julia.
She helped us.
Our legal consultant.
She
Legal
helped us get.
consultant.
She helped
many
us
years as our legal
get the get the law right on the show.
And she's
And
a legal. She's a lawyer in Albuquerque, so
Yes,
she used to
she
talk to me
was.
all the time.
Yeah, we
about,
She was. Her work had a lot of parallels with Kim's in that she left the DA's office and then was helping especially women who were in trouble. A wonderful lawyer and a close friend of Melissa Bernstein's.